Alrighty then, here we go. This has got to be the end of it. Oh, come on, that's just a giant piece of shit! Whilst I was perusing the selection of games in the Xbox Game Pass for the next game that I could just absolutely fall in love with, I stumbled upon Battle Chasers Night Wars. This game did actually look quite interesting from the get-go with its nice comic book-esque style and turn-based combat. That really did attract me. So after further looking into this game, I thought to myself, yeah, why the hell not? But what exactly is Battle Chasers? It's a game. I should just cut it there. No, I'm just joking. But Battle Chasers is a turn-based RPG game with a couple of interesting twists to it. It came to us from the developers Airship Syndicate, and is based out of the comic book series from Joe Madureira, who also contributes a good amount of the art style to the game as well. Speaking of the art style, I quite liked the art style that they've actually gone for. It's the whole entire sort of 2D background, 3D characters kind of esque gameplay, and it really looks quite beautiful. It really does give a good sort of punch to the game, and there's these ultimate abilities that you can do as well that go into a 3D more-esque type animation to it. It's really nice to watch. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, these do happen quite often because you do get your ultimates quite quickly, and it does become a little bit repetitive, but with up to 6 playable characters with 2 ultimates each, you got a couple of them that you can watch. Speaking of the characters, there's actually a good, diverse amount of characters in this as well. I mean, like, there is the only unfortunate side of you do get to only control 3 out of the 6 at any one time, giving it that kind of Pokemon feel to it where you're only using your main party, which is leveling up drastically, whereas the others just fall by the wayside and just don't get touched anymore. But you still have your vast range of characters. You've got your healers, you've got your tanks, you've got your mixed class, you've got your boobs, rogue. You've got your rogue. But as I mentioned before, you'll find out that you just play with your main 3 characters, which will then level them up amazingly, but only having all your other ones left to the wayside. That unfortunately loses a lot of the sort of grind to it. I don't want to have to level up these other characters just so I can play with them again. It'd be nice if like everybody in the party sort of leveled up all at the same time, so that way you do get a bit more variety with your gameplay. Jumping onto the story as well, there is a little bit of a nice story behind it. It's the whole entire girl goes looking for her dad, gets shot down onto a magical island. This island happens to be infested by many bandits who are looking for this mana pool that the evil Destra is looking for as well, and you have to go defeat her and save the world, as per it usually ends up being. I mean, like, it's your typical story that you'd probably find in most RPGs these days. You know, the whole entire someone's trying to destroy the world, so you're trying to save the world, but it does have its nice little sort of interesting tweaks here and there. Jumping into some of the gameplay as well, it's got some nice variety to it. The combat has a nice refreshing little bit of a change to it where you've actually got not only your mana but also what they call overcharging, and this adds on to your mana pool. So as you're playing throughout the game, you do find that your mana does drop quite a bit. But as you attack with just normal standard attacks, you get this overcharge, which then builds onto your current mana pool, allowing you to basically get some free attacks off, so don't forget to use it. It's a really nice sort of touch that I felt, because once your mana starts to run low, you've got this secondary mana pool, which just keeps on building as the battle progresses. And you can also get abilities on some characters as well that allows you to bring this extra little bit over to the next battle. It also has your classical, make sure you have enough mana potions and health potions before you leave the village, because the only place that you can actually fully restore yourself again is the inn, and that's all the way back in town, and that's a long way to walk, and I can't be bothered doing that right now. But don't worry, if you die, that's where you end up again anyway. You have to walk all the way back to where you were before. Not necessarily a bad thing. The map isn't huge, so it's not really a thing that really takes away from it, and it's not that far to walk, I guess. But I mean, like, it is an RPG. What do you really expect from it? Speaking of the map, it's a nice sort of touch to it as well. You've got your linear sort of walking around path that you can find items along the way, a whole bunch of splitting off tracks that fork off into different directions, so giving you a nice sort of variety as to how to get around. There's a bunch of different sort of little dungeon areas that you can jump into to find extra little treasures. And all the enemies appear on your map as well before you run into them, so you can decide, do I need to attack them? Yeah, nah, I'm good. But you do have to, you know, every now and again attack some of them to get to where you need to go, but that is fine. You can sort of just attack one, run back to your inn, heal up, attack another one, run back to your inn, but they do reset, so don't do this too often. And then when you enter in the dungeons, there's a whole different aspect to it. It turns into a sort of running around Diablo-esque kind of top-down dungeon crawler, where you can avoid enemies. As soon as you touch one of them, it turns into like a Pokemon battle. As soon as an enemy sees you within this dungeon as well, a little sort of eye will pop up above their head, so you are aware when they are coming after you, and you can sort of use the best of your ability to avoid them. Speaking of abilities, you've also got 2 abilities in these dungeons as well. Each character, up to 3 in the party once again, has 2 abilities that they can use, which is not a bad thing at all. These abilities can help you out before you jump into a battle. You know, for example, one of the girls can smash the ground, actually doing a bit of a stun damage to them. The wizard dude can place a sort of frost trap on the ground, where as soon as the enemies run into it, they become chilled as soon as you jump into battle with them. And boobies, I mean, the rogue can go stealth, so therefore you can actually just sneak around all the enemies altogether, which I don't overly recommend, to be completely honest, because the grind in this is pretty intense. Now, when I say that there's a grind, I do mean that I found it very grindy. You might not, but I personally did, so just beware of that. You will find yourself underleveled pretty quickly if you don't attack anything and everything that you can. So, if you're going to pick this game up, just be prepared for a bit of a grind in it. There are the occasional side quests that you can do, as well as there's a hunter lady that you can go speak to, and she'll teach you new things here, there, and everywhere. So look out for those exclamation marks above towns and cities. These are all little side quests, and I do highly recommend doing them because this will increase your level of each character. You may be able to get some awesome new items for them as well to help you out in battle. And trust me, you are going to need it. It is a hardship in some of these parts. I mean, like, it is a strategy turn-based RPG, and I am not the best at these sort of games, but I gave it my best. I did get pretty good at it at one point in time until I reached a boss that I just could not get past for a wee bit. Found myself just running around in the wilderness trying to defeat as much as I can so I can level up as much as I can, get as much gear as I could, so that this boss would just bloody die. So whether it's down to me or if it's actually the game is relatively hard, that's for you to tell if you do pick this up. Please actually do tell me if you found this game as difficult as I did, or if I'm just that bad at them. But a lovely little aspect to each dungeon before you jump into them as well is that you can actually pick what sort of difficulty you're wanting these dungeons to be at. So if you are up for a bit of a challenge, go for the insane. You gotta be insane to try that. And the higher difficulty you pick before these dungeons start will depend on what sort of loot you get out of it. I did manage to do a hard dungeon, and you do get some pretty decent loot out of it. So again, one of my little recommendations that I would say to the starter person jumping into this is maybe start doing them on hard level, because once you get up to the higher levels, if you haven't done that grind, you might have the gear in order to defeat these dungeons. So what have I got to say about this game? Well, yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I gotta say, it addicted me quite hard for a lot longer than I was expecting. In fact, whilst I was recording some of the video for this, it turned into a couple of hour gaming sessions, which I'm not usually doing at 3 in the morning, especially when I got work the next day. But it's got a really quite solid story behind it. I found it pretty good. It was this sort of typical story that you find in most of these games, but it, all in all, was pretty good. And the combat is a nice sort of change up to the turn-based style with your overcharge and your abilities and your powers, and being able to actually affect what's going to happen before a battle starts with some of the abilities that you can do in the dungeons. There's a nice little bit of a touch to it. Also, you can find this on pretty much any console that you can think of. There is PC, You've got it on Xbox, which is what I've been playing it on. You've got it on PlayStation. It's even on Switch. And to really make sure that they covered every single base that they possibly could, it's even on mobile. I haven't played it. I'm not gonna pay for it, not gonna lie, because I can just play it on here and it's a lot easier for me. But if you don't have a console, this is a good way to actually still get to play the game, and I can't imagine it being too bad. Would I pick this up? Yeah, I definitely would if I didn't just find this on Game Pass. By the way, it's on Game Pass at the moment, so if you do want to try it out, just jump on there. Anyway, all I have to say at the end of this is thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Have you played this game? Am I just crap at it? Or is it actually as difficult as I feel like it is? Thank you so much for watching, and until the next one, goodbye.